London is a very old and famous city. It is the capital of England and also the capital of the United Kingdom. Many people from different countries live and work here now. London is known around the world for many things. It is a big center for money and business. It is also famous for its history, its museums, its parks, and its culture. Many tourists come to visit London every year. They want to see places like the Tower of London, Buckingham Palace, and the Houses of Parliament. The story of London started a very long time ago. It was not a big city then. In the beginning, it was just a small place near a large river. This river is called the River Thames. People lived near the river in very old times. About 2,000 years ago, people called the Romans came to England. They built a small town by the River Thames. They gave this town a Latin name, Londinium. This small town was the start of London. Over hundreds of years, Londinium, which became London, grew. More people came to live there. Houses, shops, and important buildings were built. London became a very important place for trade. Ships came up the river to buy and sell things. London's history has happy times and difficult times. The city saw big fires that burned many buildings. It had times of sickness. It also went through wars, but London always grew again. People built new places and made the city stronger. From its small start as a Roman town by the river, London grew and changed a lot. It became one of the largest and most famous cities in the whole world. Its long story is full of interesting events and people. This book will take you through the history of London, showing you how it changed from small beginnings to the big, important city you see today. Let's begin to learn about London's past. 2. Old times. Before the Romans came to Britain, people lived in small groups near the River Thames. Old things found in the ground show small settlements existed here thousands of years ago in the Bronze Age. People lived in small groups by the river banks. Around the year 47 AD, the Romans arrived and built a town called Londinium by the Thames. It was a port for trade and the first large settlement here. This location was chosen because the river allowed ships to come inland. Around the year 61 AD, a powerful British queen named Boudicca led her people, the Iceni tribe, to fight the Romans. They attacked Londinium with force and burned it down completely. The Roman town was destroyed in this rebellion. The Romans built Londinium again. This new town was much bigger and stronger. It became very important and was the main Roman city in Britain by the year 100 AD. Londinium was a busy center for trade and government. About 60,000 people lived there in the 2nd century. The Romans built strong stone walls around the city for protection. Parts of these walls still stand today. After the Romans left Britain around 400, Londinium was mostly empty, but people returned to the area. Around the year 500, Anglo-Saxons made a new settlement called Llandenwick, west of the old Roman city site. It grew by the river as a port and trading center again, like the Roman town before it. From the year 820, Vikings from the north attacked Llandenwick many times. They came in long ships to fight the city. These attacks were fierce and some were successful, causing much damage and fear for the people. Then, King Alfred the Great became a strong leader for the English. In the year 886, he took control of London from the Vikings. He made the city stronger and safer. people moved back inside the old Roman walls for defense. London became important for the king, trade, and defense. By the 11th century, it was clearly the largest town in England and important for foreign traders. 3. Kings and Queens. After the time of King Alfred, England had new rulers. In 1066, William the Conqueror won a big fight. He came to London and became king. He was crowned king in Westminster Abbey. This church was very important from this time. William built a strong building near the city walls. This was the Tower of London. He built it to be strong and show his power. Over time, the government started to stay in Westminster, near the Abbey. This area became important for the king and the law. But the old city of London, the City of London, was still the main place for business and trade. It had its own way of working. London grew bigger. Around 1100, about 18,000 people lived here. By 1300, there were nearly 100,000 people. More people came to trade, buying and selling things, but there were sad times. In the middle of the 14th century, a terrible sickness came. It was called the Black Death. Many people died. London lost almost 1/3 of its people. Later, in 1381, people were unhappy about rules and money. They fought back in what is called the Peasants' Revolt. New kings and queens came, like the Tudors and the Stuarts. There were new ideas, especially about religion. Property changed hands, and this helped trade and business grow even more. Trade became very important. London became a main port. More people came to live and work in the city. The number of people grew from about 50,000 in 1530 to over 200,000 by 1605. During this time, famous writers lived in London. William Shakespeare wrote his plays here. His theatre, the Globe Theatre, was built in 1599. In 1605, there was a plot against the king and the government. This was the Gunpowder Plot. Men wanted to blow up the Houses of Parliament in Westminster, but the plot was stopped. London's story continued with new challenges and changes. 4. Big changes. A very bad sickness came to London in 1665 and 1666. It was called the Great Plague, and it killed many people. About 100,000 people died in the city, which was like 1/5 of all the people living there at that time. The sickness caused great fear and sadness. Soon after the plague, in 1666, a terrible fire started. It began in a small shop in Pudding Lane, near the River Thames. Because many of the buildings in the old city were made of wood and stood very close together, the fire spread extremely quickly. It burned for several days and destroyed a very large part of London, including homes, shops, and important buildings. It was a time of huge loss and difficulty for everyone. After the fire, the city needed to be rebuilt. This was a big task that took more than 10 years to complete. New buildings were often made from more solid materials like stone and brick to prevent future fires. One of the most famous new buildings was St. Paul's Cathedral. The old medieval cathedral was completely lost in the fire. Sir Christopher Wren, a very talented man, designed the beautiful new St. Paul's, and it was finished in 1710. Its large, impressive dome became a defining feature of the London skyline for many years. London continued to grow and change a lot during the 18th century, which was the time of the King Georges. New districts became fashionable places to live and visit, such as Mayfair in the west of the city. More bridges were also built across the River Thames. Before this time, London Bridge was the only one. The new bridges made it easier to travel across the river and helped areas like South London develop. During this period, London became increasingly important for business, money, and world trade. It grew into a major international financial center. The Bank of England, which had started in the late 1600s, became a central part of this growth. Important banks and trading companies were located here, making London a powerful place in the world economy. However, life in London also had its challenges. Crime was a common problem in the busy streets. To try and control this, a group called the Bow Street Runners was started in 1750. They are seen as one of the first professional police forces in London. Sickness was also a serious danger, especially for young people. In the 1720s and 30s, there were bad diseases that meant many babies and small children did not live long. The Great Plague and the Great Fire of 1666 were big events that brought massive change to London. They caused much destruction and hardship, but the people showed great strength by rebuilding and improving their city. The building of places like St. Paul's and the growth into a major financial center show this. Despite the problems with crime and sickness, London continued to develop, becoming a more modern and important city, ready for the next parts of its long history. 5. A big city. The Industrial Revolution brought many big changes to Britain. London grew very fast because of this time. Lots of people moved from smaller towns and the countryside to live and find work in the city. This sudden growth made London extremely crowded. For a long time, from about 1831 to 1925, London was the biggest city in the whole world, with millions of people living there. The number of people packed into the city was very high. Life for many people in Victorian London was difficult, partly because of the crowded and dirty conditions. There were serious problems with cleanliness and disease. The River Thames, the city's main river, became very polluted. Waste from people's homes and the growing number of factories flowed directly into it. This caused a terrible, widespread smell that people called the Great Stink. The dirty river water also spread dangerous illnesses, like cholera, leading to the deaths of many Londoners. To improve the city and the health of its people, engineers started a very big project. Joseph Bazalgette was the chief engineer for this important work. He planned and built a large new system of underground sewers. These sewers were like underground tunnels that carried all the waste away from the buildings and streets. They took it far down the river towards the sea, outside the city. This huge project took many years to finish, but it helped to make London much cleaner and a safer place to live. It was a very important step for public health in the city. Getting around the rapidly growing city also became a major challenge. The streets were very busy with horse-drawn carriages, carts, and people walking. There was a lot of traffic. To solve this, a completely new idea for transport was developed: a railway built under the ground. The first line of the London Underground Railway opened in 1863. It was the first underground railway system anywhere in the world. This allowed people to travel quickly across the city, avoiding the crowded streets above. London also saw the development of big new shops and places for people to spend time. Large stores, known as department stores, began to open. In these buildings, people could buy many different kinds of goods all under one roof. Tea shops became very popular places too, where people could stop for a drink and a meal and meet others. These changes showed London was becoming a modern, exciting, and busy place. The city continued to grow and change rapidly, becoming a major center for global business, travel, and many different cultures, attracting people from all over the world. 6. War and peace. In the years before the First Big World War, some women in London wanted a very important thing, the right to vote. They were called suffragettes. They worked very hard and sometimes made strong protests to get their message heard. Their fight was a big change for society. Then the First World War started. London felt the war. For the first time, bombs fell from the sky onto the city. People were scared, but London stayed strong. A few years later, the Second World War came. This war was even worse for London. German planes dropped many bombs on the city night after night. This time is known as the Blitz. Houses, schools, and other buildings were destroyed. More than 30,000 Londoners lost their lives because of the bombs. It was a very difficult and sad time. People spent nights in underground train stations to be safe. After the war ended, London started to rebuild. Many buildings needed to be fixed or built again. It was a time for the city to heal and look to the future. In 1948, London hosted the Olympic Games. This was a big event that showed the world London was recovering and open again after the hard years of war. In the years after the Second World War, London changed in another big way. Many people came from other countries, especially from places like Jamaica, India, Pakistan, and Bangladesh, which were part of the Commonwealth. These new Londoners brought their cultures, foods, and languages. London became a city with people from all over the world, making it more diverse and interesting than ever before. However, London also faced new problems. In 1952, a very thick, bad fog covered the city for many days. This was called the Great Smog. It was dangerous for people to breathe. This event showed that the air needed to be cleaner. After the Great Smog, new laws were made to stop factories and homes from making so much smoke. This helped make the air in London better over time. So this time was about difficult wars and bombs, but also about peace, rebuilding, new people coming to live in the city and making life better and safer for everyone. 7. London today. After the wars, London changed a lot. In the 1960s, it was a time called Swinging London. There was new music, like the Beatles or the Rolling Stones, and new fashion. Later, a new kind of music called punk rock became popular in London. It was a time for new ideas in culture. London has always been a place for new trends. The way London is run also changed over the years. There is now a city leader called the Mayor of London, and a group of people who work together to manage the big city called Greater London. There were also difficult times with bombings in some years during the 1970s and 2005. These were sad days for the city and its people. Old areas changed too. The places where ships used to stop, the docks, closed because times changed. New buildings were built there, like the tall buildings in a place called Canary Wharf. This area became important for banks and businesses. London is now one of the most important places in the world for money and finance. It is Europe's most powerful city for business and trade. For the year 2000, London built some big new things to mark the new century. There was a large building for special events, the Millennium Dome. There was a big wheel to see the city from high up, the London Eye, which gives great views over the Thames River, and a new bridge for people to walk over the river, the Millennium Bridge. These became new symbols for the city. In 2012, London was the home of the big sports games, the Olympic Games. It was a very big event for the city and the country. London became the first city in modern times to have the Olympics 3 times. Today, London is the capital city of England and the United Kingdom. It is a very big city with almost 9 million people living in Greater London. Many people from many different countries live and work here. Over 300 languages are spoken in London, making it very diverse and full of different cultures. This mix of people makes London a special place. London is one of the world's most important cities in many ways. It has a strong influence on art, fashion, and entertainment around the world. The West End area has many famous theaters where people watch plays and musicals. It is a major center for education, with many important universities and colleges that bring students from everywhere. It is the most visited city in Europe, with millions of tourists every year who love to explore it. People come to see famous places like Buckingham Palace, the Tower of London, and Tower Bridge. There are also many famous museums like the British Museum, the National Gallery, and the Tate Modern. Getting around the city is busy but possible because of the large transport system. The London Underground, also called the Tube, is the oldest underground system in the world, helping millions travel every day. There are also many famous red double-decker buses and black taxis. London has important airports that connect it to the rest of the world. London is a very active, diverse, and exciting city today. It is a city that keeps changing but stays important in the world. 8. The end of the story. We have seen the long story of London. It started as a small Roman town called Londinium almost 2,000 years ago, built near the River Thames. The city faced many difficult times. There were fires that burned buildings, like the Great Fire in 1666. Times of illness, like the Great Plague in 1665, made many people sick. Wars also brought problems and changes, especially in the First and Second World Wars when bombs fell on the city. But London always became strong again. People rebuilt it, like the famous St. Paul's Cathedral designed by Christopher Wren. New ideas came and new buildings were built. It grew bigger and bigger because of trade and industry, becoming a very important city in England and then in the world. In the past, from about 1831 to 1925, it was the largest city on Earth for a time in the Victorian era. Today, London is still a big and busy global city. About 8.8 million people live in the main area of Greater London. If you include the areas around it, the total is almost 15 million people. People come from many different countries, and they speak over 300 languages. This mix of people makes London one of the most diverse places in the world. It is a major international center for money and business, with important financial areas like the City of London and Canary Wharf. Big companies from around the world work here. It is also a leading place for learning, with Europe's largest number of famous universities and colleges, like University College London and King's College London. Culture is very important too. There are many world-famous museums, like the British Museum, art galleries like the National Gallery, and many theaters in the West End. You can visit famous landmarks like the Tower of London, Westminster Abbey, where kings and queens are crowned, St. Paul's Cathedral, or see the city from the London Eye and Tower Bridge. Transport is a big part of London life, with the world's oldest underground train system, red buses, and busy airports. London hosts big international sports events too, like the Olympic Games 3 times and the famous Wimbledon tennis tournament. It is one of the most visited cities in Europe for tourists. London is always changing and growing. New buildings are built, reaching high into the sky like the Shard, the tallest building in the United Kingdom. New people come to live here, bringing new cultures. The transport system gets bigger and better, like the new Elizabeth Line train. The city will keep changing in the future. It will continue to be a major center for the United Kingdom and for the whole world. Its long story shows it can face big changes and stay strong, always finding a way forward on the River Thames. Looking back at this amazing history, what do you think is the most surprising thing about London?
Hey there! Just a second before you go. If you learned something new today, please give this video a like, write your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe to the channel. It only takes a second, and it really, really helps to create even better English videos for you. Your support means the world. Thank you.